Break free from the chains of fear. Here are 9 things I do to better deal with the fears that arise in me. Some of them are from my days spent as a cop, others from my time in the fire department, and one actually spans generations. It's wisdom that my father passed down to me that I'm now going to pass to you. Amelia Earhart once said that fears are like paper tigers, which leads me to a study I came across. That study was conducted by Robert Leahy out of Cornell. That study said that 85% of our fears never come true. That's a huge percentage. Furthermore, of the 15% that do, 79% of those individuals said that they actually learned something, or the fear wasn't as bad as they perceived it would be. When you do the math, 97% of our fears or our worries are baseless. They're unfounded, pessimistic perceptions. Perceptions is a very strong word. Now back to Earhart's fears are just paper tigers. You see where she gets that from? Because a lot of our fears are just anxiety or our perception of what's going to happen. Not really what's going to happen. So let's jump into what I do to burn my paper tigers when I start feeling fear creeping in. The first thing I do is I acknowledge those butterflies. Every time I feel a little bit of fear, whether it's underwriting a property and signing a check, wiring money, crawling down a smoke-filled hallway, searching a warehouse, every time that I've faced fear, I've had butterflies in my belly. There wasn't a time in the firehouse that the bells would ring, bing, 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 and we'd race to the fire truck. There wasn't a time I didn't get on that rig and I didn't have butterflies in my belly when we were going out the door to an actual fire. Because my mind was racing with all the possible outcomes that could possibly happen. And I would have to slow down. I would have to calm my nervous system down. Leads me to point number 2. What did I do to calm myself down? For me, I created a mantra. If you want to hear that mantra, is right here. How I created my mantra is going to pop up. Click on that video. It's a very good story from my PD days. But I would create a mantra. And my mantra was, not on my watch. So when I felt those butterflies rising up, not on my watch, and that would reset me. And it would reset me to now take the next step. That next step was paying attention to the yield sign. For me, fear is nothing but a yield sign. Fear could be real. It could be something that is being conjured up. Fear is conjured up in your subconscious. Your subconscious may be picking up on something that you don't consciously pick up on. And that's why you have that feeling of fear. So slow down, pump the brakes. Just like when you're driving down the road, you come to a yield sign, what do? You look left, you look right. It's safe, I proceed. If it's not safe, then I wait until it is safe and I proceed. I do the same thing when that fear comes up. I make sure that I'm in the best possible position I can be in, and then I move forward. Reminds me of a time when I was at Hershey with my son, and he was still young. He wasn't allowed to run off on his own yet, but he was big enough to ride the roller coasters. and where like I wasn't gonna put them on the roller coaster. I had a fear myself. I wasn't gonna put the kid on the roller coaster because I had a fear that the roller coaster would get stuck somewhere, or they wouldn't lock him in properly. So for me to ensure that he was safe the best I could, I had to ride next to him. Problem was, I don't like roller coasters. Like, I have a fear of, he wants to go on like loop-de-loop, right? Like big loops. First we go backwards, and then we go forward or forward back. It doesn't matter. We were going upside down, like, whoa. And then he wanted to go on one and went from 0 to like, I don't know, 60, 70 miles an hour. Zoom, like, holy cow. Not this guy, not me. But I couldn't pass that fear I had onto him. So what did I do? How do I get past that fear? I start slowing down. I start thinking about the facts. I start replacing the negative thoughts with positive thoughts. That roller coaster story, right? When I did that, I had to start thinking about, I am an adult. I can conquer this. Other people have done this. It's a roller coaster in an amusement park, right? Hershey's not going to introduce a roller coaster that is going to hurt individuals. That would be really bad for business. So I had to bring all the facts into focus. The funny thing is, I got on that roller coaster, and we're sitting there, and I'm white-knuckled. I'm white-knuckled. I'm scared, right? A grown man. A fireman at the time. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I'd rather go into a burning building. But that roller coaster starts at 0. Boom! In a second, it's off to 70 miles an hour. Like, flying around. We're flying around, going upside down. Like, we're doing all of this crazy stuff. I get off that roller coaster. I'm like, come on, AJ, let's go. You want to go again? I did a complete 180. The point is that I listened to the yield sign. The yield sign was telling me something's not right here. And then I paid attention to that. I analyzed it. I said, no, this is a roller coaster. There's lots of people that are getting off the roller coaster. Everybody's using the roller coaster. The roller coaster's been here for years. And Hershey's not going to put an unsafe ride in their park. It's just bad for business. Like, anything can happen, but it's just bad for business. So paying attention to the yield sign, slowing down and just like, is everything all right here? I did the same thing in my real estate. When I buy real estate, when I'm going to close on that deal and I'm writing that check, there's a flood of emotions that comes in. Am I going to lose my shirt? Am I going to put my family in a bad position? Did I make sure I did everything? And again, there's a quick checklist. I did this, I did this, I did this. I spoke to this person, this person, this person. I had professionals here, here, and here. Let's move forward. The fourth thing I do is I remember that fear, this is going to blow your mind because the first time I heard it, I didn't believe it. Fear and excitement, it's the same thing. What? Fear and excitement, they almost sound like opposites. Physiologically, they're the same thing. Your heart starts beating a little bit faster. You're breathing, you're sweating, sweaty palms, armpits. You know what the difference between fear and excitement is? The story you tell yourself. What? Yeah, think about it. When you at that crossroads, you could tell your story of how things are going to go horribly wrong, or you could tell your story that you're going to be okay. And what road you go down decides whether it's fear or excitement. The other thing I do, I visualize. So I don't do this in the moment, right? I don't want you to think that I visualize in the moment, because I don't visualize in the moment. When I visualize, it's when I'm calm and I'm visualizing about a fear I have. So snakes are a good one. I will visualize me interacting with snakes. I don't like snakes. I actually went out and the preschool. I have preschool. We brought the snake guy. He's the reptile guy. He brings snakes and alligators and spiders and all these creepy crawly things. And he brings them and he does kind of like a demonstration with the kids, and the kids get to touch them and everything. So I go there and I interact with the snakes. And it's a very professional atmosphere, right? Like, I'm there, the kids are having fun, I'm apprehensive, the professionals there, the snake's there, like, nothing's gonna happen. Again, it's like the roller coaster, right? This guy's not gonna, like, anything, I guess, theoretically is possible, but it's not gonna happen. So I talk to the guy, I learn about snakes, what their role in nature is, how they're actually more afraid of me than I am of them. I find that one hard to believe. But now, it lowers my anxiety. It lowers, because I've touched them. I see, I have actual proof that if I touch them and I interact with them, that it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to get hurt. Now, when I'm out in nature, I still give them a wide berth, but I don't fear them. So I visualize me interacting with the snakes. I visualize when I go on before I go fishing, I visualize that I'm going to see a snake on the trail. What am I going to do? I visualize that the snake scurries off. These are all like things that help me through those fears. I take small steps. The next thing I do is I break down my fear. I take small baby steps. So the snake was a good example of that, right? I went to the professional. I stood back. I smiled at it. I spoke to it. It's funny, like, I'm speaking to the snake, like, it's okay. I won't hurt you, right? I'm really saying, please don't hurt me. But I interacted with the snake very slowly. Another great story. I was in the fire department. In the fire department, we have to rappel off the rooftop, 6 stories up. It's funny that I go to the fire department and I'm not afraid of heights. I don't get along with heights very well, but I go to the fire department and this is me. So now I have to kind of fight through this, right? We're up on the top of a 6-story building. We sit on the side of the wall. So now I'm straddled on this wall, right? The roof is over here on my left. And it's straight down 6 stories. Boop! To the sidewalk. And the guy's like, yeah, just kind of like flop over. I'm like, what? Yeah. In the fire department, we're attached to a roof rope. And we have to take that rope, and they put it through our harness, but we take our hand, we punch it against the wall. And then we literally roll off the roof, and now we're facing the building, and we're hanging off the roof. And the key thing is, the way you don't fall is you got to take your hand, as you roll off, you got to take your hand off the building and put it on your ass, right here on your hip. And that keeps tension on the rope, and the rope doesn't go through the carabiner, and you don't go crashing to your death. So you're sitting there looking straight down, and they're like, all right, roll off now. Roll off. What happened to incremental small steps, right? But what it is the incremental small steps there is first, it's the fire department. Second, there's an instructor there. Third, there's individuals that went before me. Nobody died. Nobody fell. So calming myself down, telling me these stories, I'm not going to fall, I'm not going to die, everything's going to be okay, guys have been doing this for decades, is how I bring my stress down. And now I realize, all right, it's no big deal. Again, once I had that proof that I could roll off, rolling off was the scariest part. But once I was sitting there, now I'm facing the building, and now we just go down, right? This is our break. We take our hand off our ass, we go down. Stop, down, stop, down, stop. It was like an amusement ride. Like I couldn't wait. Like when I got down to the ground, I couldn't wait to go back upstairs and do it again. But it's that first initial leap of faith. Here's a piece from my dad. My dad said we were preparing for a hurricane, and the hurricane was coming in, Cat 5 hurricane, New York City. So we don't get hit with many hurricanes, but sometimes they can be very serious. I lived or grew up on the coast, Jamaica Bay, right next to JFK Airport. My father saw the concern on my face, and he said, hey, focus your energy on what you can control. We can't control the weather, but we can control the prep work we're doing. Now get to work. And that was it. Like, no hugs, no everything's gonna be alright. He's like, get your head in the game, let's go. That's very important. Like, what can you control? When I was buying, like, fast forward, when I was buying my apartment building, right, that fear came back in. All right, what can I control? I can't control whether ultimately this works out or not, right? Like, I can't control the market conditions. I can't control whether rates are going to go up. I can't control whether we get hit with a virus and the whole country, the whole world shuts down. I can't control any of that. I can't control what the government does. But what I can control is what's right here in front of me. I can control how I buy the property, right? How I finance the property, how I manage the property, how I apply my energy to making sure that the property is in the best condition it can be in, the healthiest position it can be in, so that it performs in its best way. I can control where I buy, like what market I buy in, right? Because I can't control the location the property's in, but I can control the location I buy in. So picking good, strong markets. Focusing on what I can control. Because fear, a lot of fear comes from us telling ourselves stories of things that aren't even in our control. Right? Like right now we're in the political atmosphere of who's going to get elected for president in the United States. Like, I could vote, but I can't control who actually wins. So I just set myself up. I control what I can. So I set myself up in a position that it doesn't matter who wins the election, I'm still going to prosper. Focus on what you can control and don't lose your mind over the things that you can't control. Another one, right here. Proximity is power. I think I'm going to take this down. I'm never going to take it down, but I should get a piece of tape. That would be funny. Proximity is the unfair advantage. Seek out support. Seek out those people that have done things ahead of you. When I went to the fire department, I had a very good friend of me. He was kind of like my mentor. He told me the things to watch out for. He told me where to go to prepare for the physical. That's a shout out to you, Kevin. He ended up passing away as a result of 9/11. But he was my mentor. He was the guy that really looked over my shoulder. He was my guardian angel every time I stepped on that rig. But that's what proximity is. Proximity just seek out those individuals that have done it before you, because they will lead you in the right direction. And my last one is embrace the school of hard knocks. Failure is, I say failure is fun, right? Like, I did a whole thing once. Failure is fun. Woo, that could be a great big high five. A lot of fear, again, stems from the unknown, and it stems from I don't want to fail. I want you to reframe failure. If I fail at something, does that make me a failure? Or is it just that I failed in the moment? Is that just a moment in time where something didn't work out? Are there lessons I could take from that failure? Anyone who ever learned how to ride a bicycle understands failure. They understand what failure teaches you. Right? Failure teaches you balance. You're riding that bicycle, you fall, you skin your knee. You get back up, you brush yourself off, you keep going. You adjust a little bit. Failure teaches you balance in riding the bicycle. Maybe you skin a knee, you get back up, you try again, and you try again, and you try again, and you get a little bit better, and a little bit better, and a little bit better. It's like when I was practicing basketball, when I was throwing free throws, same thing happened. I'd hit 1 out of 10 shots. I'd go back, I'd throw another 10. Think about it this way, too. If you do everything right, can you still fail? I was a kid. Bases loaded. Now, I was not an all-star. I was like usually one of the last kids ever to get picked when we were playing baseball. Bases loaded. Tie score. I can break this wide open. And I'm up there in the box. And I'm doing everything I know how to do, which wasn't much. But I'm in the box and I'm looking at the field and I'm like, well, all I need is a base hit. If I can just hit this ball a little bit over the second baseman's head, I'll get it. Second baseman was playing close to the front edge, the infield grass, not the outfield grass, right? He was playing me shallow. And I did. I hit, I don't know, to this day I still don't know how I pulled this off, but I hit a small fly ball. It went probably 10 or 12 feet behind him, I guess. And this guy turned around, and he did like a Willie Mays. If you ever saw Willie Mays' catch they always talk about it, right? Willie Mays' catch in the World Series back in the 50s. He did one of these miraculous, like, diving catches. And I'm like, what the hell? And I came back, and my coach was like, yeah, don't worry about it. We'll get him next time. But I never felt like I failed there because I put the ball exactly where I wanted to. I just got outplayed. It just wasn't in the cards. I don't think I failed there. What do you think? Anyway, let's recap. Let's do a quick recap. So you acknowledge the butterflies. Repeat the mantra. I always pay attention to the yield sign. Those 3 things I do like all the time. The rest of them I do sporadically or not on every time I feel fear. But I remember that fear is excitement. Fear and excitement are the same thing physiologically. So what do you choose it to be? I visualize success. I take small steps. I take Dad's advice and I focus on what I control. I seek support. I embrace the school of hard knocks. And now I challenge you. What paper tiger will you slay today? Guys, we live up here in the numerator, not down in the denominator. Go out there today and be unstoppable and absolutely crush your day. I love spending time with you. Have a blessed day.